Welcome to Living a Life by Design. It's the journey back to you and living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. Did you know your accountability and possibility is by design? God designed a phenomenal life for you, gave you the gift of choice. Esther helps empower you to discover and pursue the purpose that is already in you. Are you ready to look at yourself and see your future? Then get back to what is really important in life and get in alignment with your true self. Stay tuned to Living a Life by Design. Journey back to you and start living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. It all starts now.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Living a Life by Design with me, Dr. Esther Graham. I am so super excited that you made the choice, you made the decision to join me today. I'll tell you why else I'm excited. Number one is I have a very special guest, an educator, just like I am. So y'all know it's so hard for me to get educators on the podcast because we're all busy educating young minds, right? And so, but here I have Dr. Amy Stewart, who's going to come. She's going to shed some knowledge and her experience, and we're just going to have a conversation as we always do. So I'm going to ask Dr. Amy to please introduce herself as we talk about today. Let's take stock. Listen, so many things are going on in the world today. And sometimes we forget that we have to take stock. And one of the things that we absolutely need to take stock in is our young children, our young minds. And so today, while we may expand and talk about other things, we are going to talk a little bit about what we can do as parents, as mothers, as fathers, as grandparents, guardians, wherever you are. How can we really begin to teach and train the young children so they can be adults? Adults, can I just say that's doing way better than we are? Adults that have really been focused, and we've taught them to really love themselves, honor themselves, right? And really go out and do great things in the world. So everyone, please welcome Dr. Amy Stewart. Dr. Amy, thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to reintroduce yourself, please.
Sure. So my name is Dr. Amy Stewart, and I am the owner and founder of the Night Watch Child Care Center, Maryland's only evening overnight therapeutic child care center. I'm also a wife and a cat mom and a Disney adult.
I love it. A wife, a cat mom, and this is my favorite part, a Disney adult.
A Disney adult.
Yeah,
yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Something that you just said in your introduction that, that it's the only overnight childcare therapeutic,
yes,
that part right there, center. So let's just kind of begin there, because our subject again today is let's take stock. So what does that mean, therapeutic? Let's talk about that, Dr. Amy.
Yeah, so therapeutic is essentially something that's outside of your normal, child care center, which means that we're going to get children with, a variety of disabilities, things like that. We specifically specialize with children who have behavior needs, specifically tied to autism. So you may see a child, hollering and yelling. We might see somebody throwing a toy. We might see someone that just needs to go in the room where we can just do laps, just to kind of bring down some of that, energy. We have a beautiful sensory garden out back, and it's just great for the kids to get out there and get dirty and dig up potatoes and then rebury them. And then we have like water and lights and just all of these different things where kids can go outside and connect with nature, which, we love.
Yeah, I love that because, there's many people that's in the field of early childhood. And of course, they may have centers or parents who take their children to centers. And many times, it's just a center. People often see it as daycare, which I equate to babysitting. People always tell babysitting is not something that you have to have a degree in.
Right.
It's not something that you have to continuing education. So let's just talk about that a little, because I really do believe that as people are looking at childcare centers, they're looking at, I like to call them early learning centers, right? To really foster the minds of young children. I think this is a great part of taking stock. And it's not daycare. It's not babysitting. So let's talk a little bit about that, because what I heard you just say is therapeutic, there's sensory, there's all these different things. And so that's your focus. That's what you do. correct? And
Yes, ma'am.
so let's talk about what does that look like? What should families look like? This is, guys, this is, if you want a babysitter, when you get a relative, right? Get a relative. But if you're looking for a quality care that really meets the need of your child, what is it that you do?
Right. So actually, I'm almost on the other end of that spectrum, where with us being an evening overnight daycare center, I want to accommodate the working schedule of my parents.
Okay.
And so I do hear that sometimes from parents, it's say, well, my childcare center closes at 4:30 or they close at 5, but I'm not getting off until 5. And then by the time I'm rushing there, that's what I hear from some parents in the community. It's, childcare originally was for people to go to work. Like that
Yeah.
was the point of us having a childcare center. And they have turned into early learning centers
Yeah.
where there is an expectation from licensing in the state that you are providing various things. And I feel like there's a disconnect now where parents they're needing babysitting.
Yeah.
But when you
Okay.
don't have family and you don't have, you know what I mean? Or you have to pay them out of pocket. In Maryland, if you use a licensed childcare center, you can get that stuff paid for. And so it's just kind of this, do I get it paid for, but then I got to leave work early, or I'm rushing, or I'm paying that late fee. Or I have a lot of parents that go to work super early and the daycares are not open until 6. Totally understandable. I'm just kind of seeing how that like evolution of what childcare started and the purpose of it and now where it is now. In Maryland, we are seeing there's like this pre-K grant that's being put out, and a lot of schools are doing it, all of that. But the problem is the daycares that don't have the infrastructure to really sustain a program like that they're losing out. The schools will come pick them up and take them to pre-K, take them
Yeah.
to early learning for free. So how are, the businesses in the area able to compete? Now, looping back to doing more than babysitting, we really focus on the behavior mental health piece because a lot of our kids are in a program all day. We do have a lot of school age kids that we keep until 9, 10, 12 o'clock at night. Or even the little ones, they are going to some type of nursery school, pre-K, Head Start during the day. So by the time they come to us, they're tired. They just want to kind of unwind. So that's where we are teaching kids. I'm glitching a little. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I'm seeing myself freeze. So anyway, so instead of us focusing on the academics, it really is about teaching them like breathing techniques and incorporating dancing and art. We have a music therapist that comes once a week, and then we have an occupational therapist that comes twice a week, and she's focusing on things like going to the bathroom. So our 4 and 5-year-olds that are having delays with using the toilet for a variety of reasons, that's something she can come in and help with. Another thing we're focusing on is helping the kids learn how to make friends. We have iPad kids, we have tablet kids, we have kids that missed out on kindergarten, preschool, first grade because they were doing it on the computer and have no idea how to make friends. So they're doing silly things, negative things to make friends in school. My husband and I, we run the daycare together, and with us being off during the day, we can attend school meetings, IEP meetings. Parents often will ask us to come with them just because, especially the single parents that don't have any family around here, they're like, Night Watch family, can you come? Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we love be able to be there right alongside, mom or dad to just kind of talk about some of those strategies that we can, whatever we're doing in the center, how can we, facilitate and, support positive behavior in the home and at school.
Yeah. I love that because I also love what you said that, that with the babysitting, I totally get that because you're in the night. So if these children are at a Head Start center or an early learning center or something like that during the day, they're getting all of that. So when they come to you, really, it is that time to where it's let's say babysitting to where it's, you're focused on other things because this is what parents need. I guess, parents are challenged on so many ends these days,
Mhm.
you know, um, and it's difficult for them. And it's interesting because I'm in the state of Delaware, which is right next door to you. And I'm not sure that there's any night care centers here, you know?
We've had families that drive from Georgetown, Delaware,
Yeah,
and they work in Georgetown. So they're
yeah,
coming, bringing their children, going back to work. And those of you that don't know, that's probably an hour drive
yeah, yeah, yeah,
there to us because she had nobody, like they didn't have anybody else. So
yeah,
what are your options? And we do have people driving, 45 an hour the other direction to come to us. When you're a single mom and second or third shift really is just the best option for you, that's where we're able to come in.
Yeah. So when they're there in the night care, they also sleep there. If they're there overnight, or like
Mhm.
sometimes are they there just for a couple hours till mom gets off? Let's say they're transitioning from one center to the next. That's really a lot for kids. And so I know you said a little of it, but what are some of the things you do to make them feel, let's say, comfortable and just, like this is where I belong, this is my family.
Yeah, so the kids that come with us like all the time, like they already know the routine. We have the same types of music and things at night. We sit down next to them. I mean, think slumber party, think summer
Okay.
camp.
Okay.
You're gonna have the occasional one that I'm crying because I miss mom, especially our new ones. Or if we have families that work like 7 on, 7 off, by the
Yeah.
time we get little man or little mama in a routine, we're out for a week. Or especially our younger ones where they may stay with mom for a couple months and then go stay with dad for a couple months. So, and that's just the way we run our business. Some centers are, you got to come every day at a certain time, and I get that, especially if it's an early learning center. But us, we do have a lot more flexibility to do things like that. So whether it's from having, special stuffed animals, or we have little night lights they can keep in their beds and they kind of hit them and they'll turn different colors. We have, and then other things like weighted blankets, weighted stuffed animals, if any of that, they just need a little extra, something to soothe with the evening. But yeah, like, and the twinkle lights and all of that. And as time has gone on, we've kind of refined our practices on how to get the little ones to go to sleep. Sometimes we'll do where mom can read a story ahead of time and record it, and we can play it out through the center. Or we had one little one, mom just made a video of, please go to sleep. It's bedtime. Love you. And bless his heart, he thought it was a phone call every night. He thought it was the same phone call every night. But so sometimes we got to get creative with ones that are homesick. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. When we come back, everyone, we're about to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk with Dr. Amy about how did she get into this in the first place. All right. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Imagine a place where your growth isn't just a possibility. It's part of your divine journey, a space where clarity is not only attainable, but a natural unfolding of your inner truth. A space where the patterns that have been holding you back are finally revealed, allowing you to step into your true purpose.
We're inviting you to join us in Cartagena, Colombia for a transformative retreat that will help you align with your deepest purpose and experience the breakthroughs you've been waiting for. Through guided exercises, soul-nourishing group work, and quiet moments of reflection, you'll create space for the next version of you to rise, rooted in your innate clarity and wisdom.
In Cartagena, we will embrace not only the beauty of the beaches and the vibrant culture, but also the stillness that allows us to hear our hearts and reconnect with what truly matters.
This retreat will afford you the tools and the sacred space for you to move forward in alignment with your soul's calling.
So, are you ready to answer the call? To break free from the past, step forward into your divine potential, and embrace the person you were always meant to be. Join us. We can't wait to see you there. Welcome back again to Living a Life by Design with me, your host, Dr. Esther Graham, and my very special guest today is Dr. Amy Stewart, an educator, an entrepreneur, a super businesswoman. I completely loved her. I met Dr. Amy last year, and listen, I love what she's doing in the world, especially serving families and children. So, Dr. Amy, I know that you're an educator. You've been an educator for years, but share with us, what's your story? What brought you to this? And yeah, just why are you doing it?
Yeah. So I was a public school teacher for about 14 years, and I taught middle and high school kids. So littles were not my expertise. And
I love that, littles. I love
yeah,
that.
my littles. Yeah, I have my bigs and my littles. But and as most folks, I think at some point in their career, they're seeing things not being done properly. Like my inefficiency is like a trigger for me. when I see things not being done swiftly or the way that it makes sense in my brain, it bothers me. And so over time, wanting to, make some change and try to get into a position of change. So whether it was becoming a facilitator in the high school I was working in, or applying for a dean of students position, I went to school to get my admin certificate, took the praxis, I did all the things and I still wasn't getting the jobs. I still was being passed over. And when I would hear why, oh, she doesn't like you. Like, what do you mean she doesn't like me?
Yeah.
I don't even know this lady. Like the fact that you literally are getting passed over jobs based off of people like you or not, whether or not if you have the skill, ability, talent, degrees, whatever. And instead of I got frustrated, but really what was happening is God was calling me out. He put something in me to do more. And because I was leaning in my own understanding, all I thought that meant was be a principal. And people around me would say, because I walked in the door with a master's degree. So I went all the way through. So I was 25, 24 years old with a master's degree. So the next step was the doctorate.
Yeah.
The admin classes, of course, because that's what all teachers do. That's what they do. And I'd sit in the little, with my vice principal or principal or whatever. And well, what do you want to do? And it was always, are you going to be a principal? And I'm like, I knew that's not what I wanted to do, but I didn't see any other options, right? Because again, leading in my own understanding of that's just the natural progression of things. And, over time with me getting in trouble at work, always sitting in HR, my principal's office for something like that, stuff that just didn't make sense. And when I tell you, it used to rock my soul, I used to be like, Lord, I thought I was going to do this forever. And now I look back and think, he was like, leave. You don't need to stay here. Quit this job. Let's get something else in place. Let's leverage this paycheck and your good credit to move into something else. I did not do any of that. I did not leverage my paycheck. I did not leverage my good credit. I left in a temper tantrum. So I just was like, I'm leaving. I'm starting this business. I don't want to get up early in the morning. Overnight daycare sounds like a great idea. It was just, and it's crazy. And this is how I know it was divinely inspired, because people will ask me, well, how did you come up with this idea? And I'm like, my dad and I used to talk about it. He was a police officer and we would talk about interesting business ideas. I don't know why I picked that one, but I now know that, I started the business in 2019. What happened in 2020? We have COVID. I literally could have picked any business, and I picked one that was COVID proof, recession proof, war proof. They're always going to need daycare, and the evening overnight daycare, while it's not super popular, I'm popular. We have a wait list. Once parents get on with us, they don't want to leave. I've had some kids for 7 years and they're going to stay with us till they're 12. So I see the value of it. And I see that God was already showing me mercy. He was already showing me grace. He was already making a way for this plan where, we got so much money from, MEMA, which was the FEMA, for Maryland. Yeah. I didn't have to pay for bleach, hand sanitizer, masks. It was all covered. And every time I turned around, the state was giving us another COVID check. There's no way I could have done that on my own. There's no way that I could have said, okay, I'm going to get into a business, and next year the federal government is going to be handing out crazy money to support my business and my industry. We didn't close not one day. And evening overnight people, if you're working evening overnight, you're essential. So, you know what I'm saying? We boomed. And just watching God just show up. And even times where, probably 2022, I was ready to hand the keys over. I was working 7 days a week, 18-hour days. My husband, I now have a husband at this point, and he was like, no, we're closing on weekends. We're not doing this every day. And I'm like, you're right. 2022, I rededicated my business back to the Lord and really just took that weight off my shoulders. Those of us that have multiple degrees, we are always thinking we can do it on our own. And it's like, if I can't figure it out, then I'm going to call on God. If I can't figure out this money, then I'll call on God. And I was to a point where I was asking God to intercede for me on the behalf of money. I had turned money into this monster. And I would be like, Lord, please, if I just had the money. And we all know that that's not true. Because if that was true, every time people get tax money, it would change your circumstances. No, it's gone it's gone now. Half of them, it's already gone. Because we don't have that. We don't check into God and say, Lord, what do you want me to do? Yes, and so I was exhausted, tired, and God just really saying, I've been here the whole time. I divinely inspired you for this idea, and you won't even include me in the conversation. So that was a whole game changer. And then that's when we ended up finding that therapeutic childcare grant to provide these supplemental services. And I'm a for-profit business. The application said nonprofit. I asked them if we could apply anyway. First, they
Yeah.
said no.
Right.
Months later, came back and said, shoot your shot, like apply. And then the next year, they didn't even let anybody new in. So tell me that's not God. You know what I mean? Like just watching God show up with six figures over and over again. And it's to the point now where I'm like, I'm happy, but I'm like, I knew this was gonna happen. Like his promises are yes and amen. Like yes, yeah.
Yeah, I love it because I love what you said. It's like when you release it and you do give it to God, it's like things just really come together, and here's the key part is being obedient. Now, you said something, you said you just had to release it. You had to you rededicated it to God and you release it. So talk to us about how you did that, because many times we hear people say that, but we never really tell everyone, how do you really do that? And I 100% agree and understand with your story, because that's like me. It was like, wait a minute, let me just release this. Let me turn this over. As your story, you talked about how you were kind of divinely pushed into this. When I left corporate America, I divinely came into this as well. It's like, whoa, it's just right there. And God just opened the doors, and he opened the door for 1, 2, looking at 3, all of those different things. And the key is, really being obedient and following the plan, because we have our own plans. But then those plans do, I believe, have to really be released to God for everything to come together, being obedient. So talk a little bit about that. You rededicated. How did you do that? You released it. How did you do that? You made a mindset shift. How did you do that?
Yes. Well, first I prayed with my mom. Yeah, my mom does praise and worship. Like she not dragged me, took me to church, you know what I mean? So like, that's always my default setting. So to call my mom and say, Mom, I need you to pray, right? This is before I could put my big girl pants on and pray myself. Like I'm calling my mom. And she said something in that prayer, Lord, if this center is meant to close, you will close it. And that's all I needed to hear. Because again, I was ready to hand the keys in. And then the next day I'd get a call for another parent, like another parent would get on the wait list. And so like, that was always my cue of like, no, it's not ready to get closed yet. Then the other thing is I went in with the oil. I went into my center when we were closed, and I did all 4 walls and the floor. And I prayed over every single wall. And I'm like, Lord, from the wall to the wall to wall, ceiling to the floor, like I need a whole refreshing.
Works, doesn't it? It works.
It does. It does. And I tell you, I have somebody come out every couple months and do it.
Yeah.
Could I do it myself? Sure. But I call one of my extra moms, and she'll come around and, pray. And if anybody at the center wants prayer, she'll pray for them. And we're not a faith-based center, but like I'm faith-based. You know what I mean? Like I'm faith-based. So
when you say that, I say to my people, I said, we're not a faith-based center as well, but it is operated by a faith-based person, right?
Right.
So we're not a Christian center, but it is a center that's owned and operated by a Christian.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The next thing that I did was I started taking stock in my spiritual credit score. I don't know. That's just the way my brain works. And I just thought about all the fruits of the spirit. And I was like, if I was going to rate myself 1 through 10, how am I doing? And there were some like joy, like, yes, like I have my husband and we're happy and my business and all of that. But it was patience and self-control were pulling my score down. So I really started to focus on patience and self-control, because again, I like to lean in my own understanding. I like to pull these degrees out, these awards, and think that I know how to do something. Yeah. But again, it's always only through God. And so I had to really understand that when God drops something in my spirit and shows me something and gives me an idea, I need to understand that like that plan may take 30 years and $1 billion. It might take 10 years and $1 million. And I need to slow down. I need to have some patience. I need to have some self-control, because I get so excited about God's plans for me. I almost gorge on it. Like I'm up all night, like manically thinking about it. He's like, I don't want that for you either.
Do you sometimes feel as if you go ahead of God? Like you get the plan, you're like, boom,
Yep. Yep. Because that's how we do in our regular jobs in corporate America and, public school. Give it to me. I got the rubric. I've got the things. Boom, gone. I don't need any help. I don't need any help. And God be like, no,
I got this.
And then the last part is when you're working with kids, there's always going to be a risk. Just they're children. If you're working with families, there's going to be a risk. You're brick and mortar, there's a risk. And so God really laid it on my heart. You don't have to trust them. You just got to trust me. And that was another release because it's like, I remember you and I chatting and you were like, I'd be worrying all night about them kids, like worrying, because I go to sleep at night. But again,
Girl,
I just have to trust God. I have to
yeah.
trust God. I have to trust that He has brought the people into the space and they're going to do what they need to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you when you first told me you did overnight care, I did. I thought about it. I said, "Oh God, no, I cannot. Please don't give me that vision." Because because I mean, you really do have to be called to do that. And if you have to know where your calling is. And so
Mhm.
I absolutely love it because I would be that person, like I wouldn't be able to sleep, and I would be like how you guys were at the center 24/7 to where my husband said, Esther, you got to
Right.
take it. You got to do this. You got to do that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe down the road, I may be able to like, okay, but right now it's like, ooh, but I love it because it is a need in the community.
Mhm.
And I love exactly what you're doing. We're going to take a quick break, everyone, and we'll come back to have some more powerful discussion with Dr. Amy. But we're also going to talk to her now about what else is she doing? What can she share about her own story in her life? She not too long ago got married. Her husband is absolutely wonderful. They work together in business. Going to talk about that a bit because some people can't work with their spouse. So how is that going? So we'll come right back. Imagine a place where your growth isn't just a possibility, it's part of your divine journey, a space where clarity is not only attainable, but a natural unfolding of your inner truth, a space where the patterns that have been holding you back are finally revealed, allowing you to step into your true purpose.
We're inviting you to join us in Cartagena, Colombia for a transformative retreat that will help you align with your deepest purpose and experience the breakthroughs you've been waiting for. Through guided exercises, soul-nourishing group work, and quiet moments of reflection, you'll create space for the next version of you to rise, rooted in your innate clarity and wisdom. In Cartagena, we will embrace not only the beauty of the beaches and the vibrant culture, but also the stillness that allows us to hear our hearts and reconnect with what truly matters. This retreat will afford you the tools and the sacred space for you to move forward in alignment with your soul's calling. So, are you ready to answer the call? To break free from the past, step forward into your divine potential, and embrace the person you were always meant to be. Join us. We can't wait to see you there. Welcome back again to Living a Life by Design. I'm so super excited that Dr. Amy Stewart is here to join us, and we are having a powerful conversation. So if you just joined us, listen, as you're listening to this, make sure you're loving on her, and hearting her up. And if you've got any questions, ask the questions and we will answer your questions. We'll send you back in the chat or wherever. We'll answer your questions. So thank you, Dr. Amy. So we've had great conversations about how you got here, how you depended on God, how you rededicated. You had to just release some things to God. And I love what you said about your spiritual credit score. Your spiritual
Mhm.
credit score went down when it needed to go back up. I love that analogy. So, so good. I know that you've done several things in the short time we've known each other. Right. I know that you got married and that you're very happily married. I also know that he works with you in business and he's in childcare with your business. That's phenomenal. So how is that going? So let's talk. So I have to give y'all that when we had our marriage retreat, Dr. Amy and her husband came, Ben came, that's her husband's name. And it was phenomenal. They are hilarious and just wonderful to sit and laugh and talk with. So talk about that because the transition of getting him into working with you in business, sometimes for some couples, it takes a while, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when Ben and I first got together, Ben is my blue collar, Job Corps man. Like that's what he decided to do after high school. But he was working, he'd work this job and that job wasn't necessarily like something he was super excited about. If he quit, who cares? But it came to a point where he was working days, of course, I'm either working second or third shift. And it just, we weren't seeing each other other than the weekend. And I remember sitting at my center, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm working the overnight shift. And I'm looking at the bank account and I thought, you know what? We have enough to pay him between now and the end of the year. Let's just try it. Let's try for 3 months. And if it doesn't work, he can always go back to work because again, it wasn't like he was leaving 20 years in a pension. It was, he could go get another job someplace else. And I came home with some Wendy's. It's 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, babe, wake up, wake up. I was like, I think you should quit your job and come work at the center. Now he was already like, approved to work because that was the only way we could see each other. So he was on as like an assistant, but he had over a year of experience and, from coming to work at the center. Experience is a big deal in Maryland. So you can have your classes, but if you don't got that, experience, unless you have a degree, that can be a milestone of you or a hindrance of you becoming a teacher in a child care center. So he was like, and I was like, no, hear me out. You already like doing it anyway. We could see each other all the time, And he said, okay. He said, let me give them a month notice. I'll give them a month notice. And I said, okay. I could see he was a little like reserved about it at first. Not that he didn't like working at the center. The kids love him. Like they love him. The daycare moms love him. If they need anything like hung up, mounted, there's a hole in the wall, they're calling Ben. Like, can he come and help us out? He's definitely like the big brother, uncle, like vibe. And so I said, well, you can give them a month notice. I said, but I really feel like this is what God is calling you to do. And I don't really like it when people do that, but that's my husband. I really felt strongly about this. And I was like, I just feel like the next couple of weeks are going to be rough because he wants to make sure that you are sure about quitting that job and coming on. And he put in his notice by the end of the week.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he came on and, it was just about getting the rest of his classes done. And it was like, okay, we can get those done in, a couple weeks. It's self-paced. And then, we put him in the baby room and he thrived. Those little babies loved him so much and the moms love him. And, so, he works in all the classes. He's, cross-certified and everything, but he likes it. I think he likes the fact that me and him get to be off during the day. So that's wonderful. So every day is like a Saturday. We can go to the beach. We can go get breakfast. We can have breakfast at the house. It's, Monday mornings are relaxing. We don't have to be anywhere. And also
going to Disney with you, right? He's become Disney adult, as you say, right? Yeah.
Yes, we are both Disney adults. When I tell you like, no little request for your future spouse is too small for God because there are things about him that I didn't even realize. I used to go to Disney by myself and I dated other people and I'd go by myself. And to be married to somebody that is just excited about life and fun and likes being a kid and we sing Disney songs and we are huge Wicked fans. And he's genuinely my best friend. So to get to work with my best friend every day is just wonderful. And then we've ended up hiring my mother-in-law. So she actually works at the center. My sister-in-law on Ben's side has also come on and joined the team. And we're a space where like the nieces and nephews can come through. Like we're an apprenticeship program with the state of Maryland. So family owned and operated. My mom does our books. She's going to be retiring in the next year or so. So I'm looking to give her a more active role because she loves helping families. I spoke at a conference last year. And one of the questions I asked was if all the bills were paid, what would you want to do for a job? And she wrote down, she wanted to pray for people. And so this past weekend, we were at a conference in Salisbury and I had my mom there at the table and we were taking prayer requests. So I'm handing out little prayer journals that have our information on it, talking to people about Night Watch and our nonprofit, the Owl's Nest Learning Hub. And I'm like, but we're also doing prayer requests. If anybody, my mom's here to pray with people. And I really thought people would be like, oh, thank you, and keep walking. More than none. Can you pray with me now? And my mom's over here on the side praying with folks. So, just being able to provide places where we all can thrive in the gifts that we have. Like my mother-in-law, she gets to be the grandma. She gets to snuggle with babies and, clean up little spills and messes from them when they eat. And, we're all getting to find really great spaces and just in a career that we're enjoying. And I think for folks that kind of bounce from job to job and a job was just to pay the bills and you ended up staying in that industry for years because it paid the bills, it wasn't necessarily something you were really excited about. And just to kind of watch my family and some of the daycare moms we've hired were in the same boat. They were just working a job to pay the bills. And now they get to be with their kids every day. We get to do something fun and just creating a really warm, environment for folks.
So, so it's a family affair. And so, and in the family affair, you guys all work well together, or is there any, how do you kind of bring that all together?
Yeah, so I have learned how to compartmentalize. There's boss Amy, and then there's just Amy. And
Mhm.
I got to push past it because if the business is not sustainable, everybody's got to leave and go work someplace else. So if that means we need to have hard conversations or a second or third conversation, then we're gonna have a second, third conversation. And I'm like, don't make me like, I don't want to have this conversation. It makes me uncomfortable too. So, but you can't just skirt around. Because if that's the case, the business will go under, things will happen. People think they can get over on you. I'm not saying any of my family tries to do that, but what I'm saying is like, if you're
No,
gonna
but
have
I mean,
family work with you, you have to, that's the expectation is like the business, and that was a hard pill for me to swallow. Like the business has to come first. And as somebody who loves working with kids, loves working with families, that was a hard pill for me to swallow because I'm like, that sounds really greedy. But it's like, no, if this business is not thriving, I have to let people go. There are people that are counting on us. We have a immigrant population in our area, and some of them are coming here without the spouse. And so they have kids and it's just them. And so we have been I mean, this is mom's telling me, you have been an answered prayer because what else was I supposed to do? I'm coming here, I'm working these evening overnight jobs. We have a Purdue chicken plant in the area. Great employer of folks who don't have any type of skill or anything. They can just walk to our daycare. So for us to have that resource for families, like that has to be a priority. And so if people get their feelings hurt, I'm sorry. I love you. Like I love you, but I'm trying to make this better for us. And just like sometimes God has tough love with us, I'm the leader of this company and I have to have tough love to make sure that we all can have, what we need. We can serve how God, I feel, wants us to serve.
I love that because that to me, that's a part of taking stock. So you're taking stock in the children, you're taking stock in the
Hmm.
families, and then you're taking stock even within your own families, bringing them in and really creating legacy, right? And really setting that example of this is how we can do and grow together, right? And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and I love the fact that you're not leaving God out of it because he needs to be so much a part of it, and just be, bringing him in. So I absolutely love that. We are about to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back with Dr. Amy. And Dr. Amy, I'm going to ask you to just give some advice. A lot of working moms out there. A lot of things going on in our world. This is Women's History Month. And I really want to empower our mothers, especially our single moms or the grandparent who now has to take care of
Hmm.
their grandchildren when they thought this was their, let's say, their glory years when the grandchildren just come to visit and leave. Now the grandchildren have to stay there. What can you say to them to empower them, to make them feel just like, you know what, I could go through, as you said, not giving up and putting it down and saying, I'm done, but really pushing forward. So we'll come back and we'll talk about that. Imagine a place where your growth isn't just a possibility, it's part of your divine journey, a space where clarity is not only attainable, but a natural unfolding of your inner truth, a space where the patterns that have been holding you back are finally revealed, allowing you to step into your true purpose.
We're inviting you to join us in Cartagena, Colombia for a transformative retreat that will help you align with your deepest purpose and experience the breakthroughs you've been waiting for. Through guided exercises, soul-nourishing group work, and quiet moments of reflection, you'll create space for the next version of you to rise, rooted in your innate clarity and wisdom.
In Cartagena, we will embrace not only the beauty of the beaches and the vibrant culture, but also the stillness that allows us to hear our hearts and reconnect with what truly matters.
This retreat will afford you the tools and the sacred space for you to move forward in alignment with your soul's calling.
So, are you ready to answer the call? To break free from the past, step forward into your divine potential, and embrace the person you were always meant to be. Join us. We can't wait to see you there. Welcome back again to Living a Life by Design. It is the journey back to you. It's the journey back to you. Whatever is going on in your life, I just want you to know that God just always has a plan for you, and we can live our life by design. We get to create the life that we want, that we so desire. And so I'm so glad to have Dr. Amy Stewart here. We've been talking about education. We've been talking about taking stock. We've gone into business and a little bit of marriage, because this is all living a life by design, really creating, right, what you want and following the plan and the instructions, I like to say, of God, because many times I know for me, Dr. Amy, I'll create my own plan, and then I really do have to seek and say, okay, God, what is it that you really want with this? Not just in my personal life, but also in my business life, in everything that I do. It really has to be a calling for me to do it. If I'm not called to do it, then I'm no good at doing it. I can't do it. At least I can't do it out of authenticity or transparency, right? And so really, this is what living a life by design is. It's just really planning things out to where everything is just coming in place. It may not be perfect. We've got challenges, but when I know that I'm called to do this, then I could steer forward. And so as we go into this part, this last segment, this is Women's History Month. We've talked about everything. I'd like for you to speak to that woman that's out there, that parent that's out there, even that grandparent who says, now I have my grandchildren, for whatever the reasons may be. What can you say to them? How can you speak into them and feed their souls today?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is like none of this caught God off guard.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we think, God, why did you do this to me? And like we our need for knowledge, it goes all the way back to original sin. Like, I mean, I joke about how I'm clinically nosy, but like, no, like I don't need to know all the whys. The big why is that he wants me closer to him. And sometimes that's the only answer. And that may sound controversial and may sound cruel, especially when the circumstances are very extreme.
Yeah.
But God wants you to come closer to him. That is the simple answer. The simple answer is that he has a plan for you. And this season has a purpose. The fact that your heart is beating and you're still breathing, he has a purpose for you. And those that are raising children that are supposed to be grandkids, like you are going to be the person that's going to make sure that their kids, that your great grands are raised in a home with parents. Like you are going to be that once in a bloodline that's going to change everything. And so, yes, maybe your circumstances are loud, but I invite you to turn it down and turn up the Lord. And this is where we have to, I'm guilty of staying on social media, but starting the day with the Lord. And I know this sounds, I know I'd a lot 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I giggled at myself because that's something my mother would have said, but it's like, I'm getting older and I'm like, how was I not doing this sooner? Like, who told me that I need to turn to social media? I need to turn to my girlfriends. I needed to turn to it. And I'm not knocking therapy, but who said I need to turn to a therapist when I have the Lord and I don't even consult him? Do all those things if you want. It's cool. But I'm not even including him in the conversation. No wonder I'm stressed out. He has a calling on my life and I don't even ask him for guidance. I don't even like, Lord, just speak to me. We don't even have that anymore. We have a society where it's like, get on the phone, get on the phone, get on the TV, occupy your time. I think that's the reason why kids struggle to even, they say it's an attention deficit thing. No, they don't know how to sit and be still. They don't know what that's like to just be calm with themselves and have God pour into them. It's a foreign concept. We have like the Holy Spirit is being substituted with AI and algorithms and social media and just things that's not genuine. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the effects of it. I'm seeing the effects with the littles, with the tantrums that are way more like, and I mean, I was in high school, like, and just to see how, just since I've been gone, some of the aggression that I'm seeing towards teachers and just, you couldn't pay me enough to go back. Like, I'm so concerned for what's going on with our kids, with the education system, what's being allowed, what's being promoted. And these children are not given time to just sit with the Lord. And I understand, like, at school, they're not gonna have time for prayer, but like, you could give them 15 minutes in the morning. Just play some just chill music and just give kids a minute to just kind of get centered with themselves. So I think it's really important that we, like I said, try to turn down the noise because we think that circumstance is everything. We think it's so loud and that's all it is in our life. And it's like, no, God has a whole experience for you, not just the human experience, but he wants to spend eternity with you. And sometimes we just got to sit for a minute and say, Lord, you're giving me this human experience as a gift. How can I do it to bring glory to you despite my circumstances? Like we're going to start working with, hopefully working with some folks who are going to be being released from prison. Like I'm really excited to hear about this whole like pardoning more people that should never have been in there forever. We're near a couple of facilities, and I just want to work with parents who are coming home soon. 5 years, we've got 2 years. Like you're going to come home. You might not have a place to live. Jobs aren't always guaranteed, but you will be a parent. And so what can we do to better help prepare you? And like I just think about there are folks sitting in those situations where the calling on your life was so great. I was going to be interesting take on it. But for the calling that God has on you to be so great that he removed all distractions. You're in jail, you're in prison for years. And the only thing you got is time. And there will be people that sit and waste that time fighting, arguing, stressing, this, that, the other, when literally like God is like, no, 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 it's my time. Me and you, let's have this time. And when you get out, this is what we're going to do. And so I really just encourage folks to just lean in, again, not in our own understanding, but to just, look to God.
I love it. That's great advice, because I do believe this is what we need in the world that we're living in today, with so many stressors and so many things. There's so many distractions, right?
Mhm.
And if we could just pull it in, and hey, listen, y'all, start your day. I start my day every morning with God. Meditate. I love going out, even sometimes during the day, going outside and grounding myself in nature, taking my shoes off and standing in the dirt really pulls it in. Looking around at the beauty just kind of begins to pull things in, and being just grateful, right? In every circumstance, just being grateful for what you have. And I think you're absolutely right. If we can begin to teach our children that's really how we can get them, let's just say, to find their inner being. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, because they've lost it, because the computer, everything is just, and what happens is that we're going for the quick results.
That part. Oh, we see it with our healthcare system where
Mhm.
you're sick and they quick to give you a steroid pill or something to bring down the symptoms, but no one's actually addressing the root cause of why you keep getting sick. And it's the same thing spiritually. We
Yeah.
want a quick fix. If God doesn't answer my prayer right now, it means he's not answering it. If God doesn't show me this vision
Yeah.
or make this happen in the next 5 business days, I'm not dealing with it. And it's like his time, and really is about being spiritual healthy, like, physically healthy, walking every day, eating the good food. Don't wait until you're pre-diabetic and now you're rushing and using medication and stressing when you could have been taking care of yourself all the while. And I feel like it's the same thing with spiritual walk. Because I was like that too. I'm like, I'm good. And then something crazy would happen and I'm like crying in bed. I'm like, Lord, please. And I'm, all the gospel music and all of that. And he's just like, it don't have to be like that. Like
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
talk to me every day.
Yeah, every day. And I like to tell people it's just a casual conversation, and that same conversation should go, in with your children and whatever business really that you have right now. Those are the type of conversations that should be happening every day. Because if you're an entrepreneur, can I tell you, you're gonna have to have some level of God in your
Mhm.
I'm seriously, because
Yes, ma'am.
I like to tell people, entrepreneurship is not for the faint in heart.
Mm-mm.
Right?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, you really have to, you have to surround yourself in a community that's very supportive, and you have to know that this is something that you've been called to do by God. And so that helps you to stay in purpose. That really helps you to be in design, as I like to say, and not in default. So good conversation, great advice that you've given. I'm so thankful that you joined me today. Listen, everyone, you guys know that we come on every second and fourth Fridays of the month. Dr. Amy will be on the second Friday. This is the fourth. What part of the month are we in right now? So confused. And so make sure that you join me. Listen, I also want to tell you, connect to me on YouTube at Festa della Donna. Connect, find out about the Life by Design retreats, the marriage retreat, the singles retreats, the co-ed retreats that we host. They're phenomenal. They're transformational. And I can't wait to see you. We are still in Women's History Month. So ladies, celebrate yourself, celebrate who you are, and speak into your children. So important. Speak life into them. Give them joy. Give them peace, right? But you get it for yourself first. I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so much, Dr. Amy. Any lasting words before we leave?
No, I think I talked enough.
Thank you again. Take care, everyone, and see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Living a Life by Design, the journey back to you, and living 365 days of purpose with host Esther Graham. Listen or watch live every second and fourth Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Discover that what is possible is already in you. God designed a phenomenal life for you. Esther helps you ignite that energy behind your personal journey for a deeper joy and peace, living 365 days of purpose. For more information on living a life by design, visit fddwomen.com.